Thank you for coming. Just before we get started, I just want to remind everybody that our next speaker is Ayush Gupta from the University of Maryland, and it's not for another more than a month, so you have lots of time to get excited and be ready to But in the meantime, we have Erin here. So this is Erin Furtak. I'm really excited to introduce her. I've known her for a long time, more than 10 years, I guess. And so I'm just going to say a little bit, and then I'll turn it over to Erin so she can tell you all about her work. So Erin's research grew out of her experiences as a public high school teacher. And her work focuses on how to support secondary science teachers in improving formative assessment practices. So she had a project that she's investigating a long-term professional development program and using learning progressions for natural selection to support high school teachers in formative assessment practices. And now that work has been expanded greatly to include teachers from different subject areas in a large-scale project. She's a German Chancellor Fellowship from the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation, Research Fellowship from the Knowles Science Teaching Foundation, and the Presidential Early Career Award for Scientists and Engineers. And she served as the PI for several NSF-funded research projects, including a career grant. She's a prolific writer with numerous peer-reviewed articles and several books. And of particular interest for the grad students and postdocs who may want to meet with Erin this afternoon, she has a lot of experience sharing her strategies as a faculty success program coach with the National Center for Faculty Development and Diversity. So it's a good chance to get some feedback and tips and ideas from Erin, so I hope you'll take advantage of that. And she has two adorable kids, Maya and Aiden, and she's an expert chocolate chip cookie baker. So, there you go. There's Erin.
Thanks. It's not every day that I get introduced by somebody who's at my wedding. So thanks, Alicia. It's really nice to be here and to have so many familiar faces from different parts of my life here to talk to you today. And I've told several people that I'm a little nervous about giving this talk today because I feel like I'm kind of branching out instead of talking about like my wheelhouse, research, kind of design, method, results, etc., and kind of talking about more of kind of some meta perspectives on work in this area that I've been chewing on for a couple of months. So if these ideas come across as half-baked, that's because they're not completely finished, like the perfect chocolate chip cookie. You know, maybe you need a little more time in the oven. And I really look forward to conversations and feedback about these ideas. And the manuscript that this is based on is in my hand here, because there's a couple of places where I worked really carefully to make sure that the words came out the right way, and I might actually just read that sentence to make sure that I don't screw it up on the fly. Okay. And I also plan to kind of try to keep this to about 30 or 40 minutes so we can have generative discussion at the end. Because really at the end of the day, this is about sparking interesting conversations. So the context of the title of the talk is really an idea that I kind of pitched to Sherry Sutherland and John Settlage as part of a larger conversation I was having with them when they were taking over at the helm of science education, which happened in April of last year. And they're kind of science education, and I think several of the Wiley journals are trying to create virtual special issues, and the cynical side of me thinks that maybe this is because they just want to create more avenues for their content to be disseminated and sold, and I'm realizing this is being videotaped, so maybe I shouldn't be saying that. But they are also seizing upon it as an opportunity, as Sherry said, to kind of curate a set of articles to cultivate conversation in areas that might be of interest to the field. And so this topic of dilemmas of three-dimensional classroom assessment really kind of came out of that, and I've been working on this for several months now. So kind of just to kind of start by quoting the assessment framework that goes with the next generation science standards, talks about this new vision of science learning presenting a lot of challenges, but also unique and valuable opportunities for assessment. I realized that I'm probably overusing the word opportunity when I had one of my graduate students turn to another graduate student in a meeting last week and saying, when Erin says opportunity, what she really means is this is going to be hard and we don't know the answer. And then that kind of made me realize that I'm really into the word opportunity, is thinking about this is hard, but it also creates a lot of space for new ideas and new experimentation. So kind of the existing science assessments we haven't really been designed to capture three-dimensional science learning, and we really need to rethink science assessment in this way to address long-standing issues with current approaches to science teaching. So that's kind of the context that I'm resting my work in. Okay, so you'll see where this is going in a minute.